What's up guys, it's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your solo cash cup skills by analyzing one of EU's best controller players, and that is Scolleh. But before I get into this VOD review guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. Also, I recently just got my supporter creator code in the Fortnite item shop. If you would wish to support me in that way, use code Talon.fn, #ad. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Scolleh's POV. He's going to be in this Slurpy Swamp area. He's going to end up finishing 5th in this solo cash cup. We've been doing a ton of EU VOD reviews and solo cash cups simply because the fact they're the only one of the major regions that got to play in the first week. We're going to take a look at how Scolleh plays 5th, and this is going to be our first controller player, I think, that we VOD reviewed this season, and Scolleh's never been on the channel, so I'm excited to showcase someone new and different. Let's take a look at this first engagement because it's kind of funny. Finds a guy hiding behind a tree. He cracks that. I don't know what that guy was doing. He had no mats. This first fight is going to be, again, usage of the harpoon. We saw this in the Mr. Savage VOD review, how important it is for getting pickups. Remember, these are incredibly stacked, 40 and half. Now, this particular engagement is fantastic. It's a good example of playing safe at range, and because of the fact that servers are laggy, you're going to see the spray through, getting that piece control, very important here. But notice as he breaks through, what does he do? He immediately backs up to cover. And then he gets that cone slide, he's going to crack. Notice he's kind of always backing up, playing from behind cover, so he can duck back to the left if he needs be. Immediately places the cone here. He's playing at range safely from the fight. The opponent's all trapped. He got dropped down. The servers are incredibly laggy. It's not like he can stop pressure. Now, I think he heard this opponent get cracked because... And this is kind of a smart play, especially with aim assist. Even though he gets hit for a little bit, he was not a significant amount of health. More than likely, he heard that he was cracked. Now we're going to take a look at some things in this endgame. Surge, like I said, 4 eliminations. No problem with Surge with 4 eliminations. He's playing on a lower layer, but look at the mats. Very healthy. You see good conserved tarping. Now, this is going to be a nice little pickup. He doesn't even truly need to go for it, but he ends up just finding it anyways. He cuts this opponent off. Good movement. And then he's going to Metro Classic in, spray through, and get the finish. And it's going to just give him a bunch of extra mats. But let's just take a look at how he ended that fight so quickly. And just what was good about this particular engagement. So you're going to see him. One, he recognizes his opponent's going there. One, he builds a ranch to protect himself, which is crucial and important, especially in endgame. But he realizes he's now ahead of his opponent, so he's going to build a wall. And immediately edits a window. And what does he immediately do? Crouch, change eye level, and gives him time to pick out this crouch jump acceleration. And then you're going to see him, okay, the opponent, he sprays through trying to get the finish, immediately places a ramp behind. You could tell by the difference in camera angle to Metro Classic in, try to end that fight quickly. And then the opponent's kind of on a scuff flare spraying through, and that's a GG's. And a nice pickup. He truly didn't need it, but he took a good advantage of the opportunity to get a free point and a free refresh, even though he truly didn't need it with the amount of mats that he has. Now he's going to be pretty much capped all around, so he's going to get to use all these extra mats.
Oh, fucking yes, Scolleh.
And I love this. He goes 5-3 cap, good comms. And I love this little layer switch. Get off that bottom layer, get on this nice mid ground. And look at this. Fantastic right here. Same thing. This is what getting ahead can do for you. If you get ahead of opponents on your same layer, you can cut them off. And he's going to do that exact same. Let's take a look about it. These both pickups are crucial. And this is exactly what you need to do in endgame, is get ahead of your opponents and then cut them off with piece control. Good cone. Stops him. And the opponent gets stuck in the wall. He cracks. Here, make sure he builds wall. Now this opponent is full box. He has nowhere to go. Look. He's looking absolutely lost. And so now he's probably going to get a 5-5 cap at a bare minimum, just with how many eliminations he's had already previously in this end game. Turn the music back up, or the sound back up. 5-5-2.
This game.
I don't know who's gassing up in Cord, but yes, Scolleh is disgusting. And then he has all this mats, right? So he's like, I'm going to use my mats to make a hype play. He takes a little bit, cranks 90s. He's got a slurp fish, so he's not even concerned about that 100 crack. And then immediately, the person that can challenge him for height, he sees he's building in wood. He sees him drop down. He goes, okay, he's not even going to bother pressuring him. He's unfortunately getting shot at. He has a significant amount of mats, though. The opponent is going to have to eventually move. Like I said, 20+ man endgame, so stacked. But now he is on height. He can actually do a good job of conserving his mats. He's going to go over here and smartly connect down here. Stay on a good layer. And then take a big. He has no threat to him, no shockwaves. The only thing that could really hurt him is Easter eggs, which again at this time was incredibly new, so no one truly had to use them to take advantage. He's going to kind of grind out this placement, get a nice little easy one-tap pickup there. Now only on wood, having to rotate out, but he's really only going to have to double tarp as he goes out. You can see the aim assist on display. Good job of pressuring opponents and looking for free eliminations. So you're not having to use a ton of mats. He's single tarping. There's so much congestion. You make sure he reconnects there smartly. And then, like I said, the only thing that can really challenge him is an Easter egg. But here's the problem with Easter eggs. You're free floating in the air sometimes, and that's a free elimination. Only 100 materials. So, unfortunately, may not be able to stay on height. But look, he sees this opponent right here. 50-50's in and surprise him. Fantastic. It's good recognition that it was one tap. And he actually ends up keeping height.
Nice!
You can hear the delayed reaction from whoever he's in a cord call with. That was just such a good little important pickup. It's a psycho play. It's like, okay, I need some more mats. Let me just off guard, psycho in 50-50, catch the opponent off guard that just didn't expect it at all, didn't even react. He's gonna maybe try and cut off here. He's building cones on the piece control, maybe so he can have double edits on his opponents. But there's only 2 remaining. He's not going to psycho down. When you're sitting here on height, when there's 2 people, the goal is on height is to let those 2 people fight, and then you come in and clean up the 1v1. That's what you're hoping to do. I was a little bit surprised. Looked like there was a little bit of mats there I didn't go for. He kind of spams in, and now he's on low, and this is kind of the problem. But fortunate that he gets that pickup right there. He has 1 flopper, and then the opponents are super weak. It's a really good game, 11 eliminations. Personally, I would have stayed up top there, especially with no mats, but I think he had to drop down anyways. Good thing that both those opponents were 1 tap to a spaz and he was healthy.
Yeah, exactly the same time I have delay. Fuck.
Nice first engagement. Tons and tons of pre-fight damage.
That was Origin.
Good, we see a regular sub usage, very rare. Good recognition. Gonna try and pickaxe bait. Finally does get it. Opponent goes to the other side. Fantastic. Just a good use right there. Just kind of watch. The edit flow wasn't the absolute cleanest, but he kept the pressure on. The opponent gets 0 opportunity to heal. I just like the way that he constantly pressured. It never seemed like super duper overzealous. He had the opponent literally 1 tap, especially you saw with the SMG spray through. So we see tons and tons and tons of wall pressure right here. He never psychos in, 17 white. You're going to see him trying to get in with a Scar right here. And he uses what little ammo to try and get the wall back. Tries to get it with a shotgun take. It actually gives it to him and then does it say he has it. He pickaxe baits. He's going to wait for the opponent to make an edit. Actually, the opponent tries to go up. He gets in. Opponent edits out to the side. He tries to build a back wall to protect him. He shoots through with a shotgun. Gets piece control. Gets the cone. That's so important right there. That stops him. And then he finishes the fight. Really, really good edit flow and patience on his push-in right there to make sure he didn't take any damage at all. It never seemed it seems control aggression, and that's exactly what you want to do. Alright, again, we're in another endgame, and Surge, again, being a factor. Like I said, first Cash Cup was incredibly stacked in the EU region. All of Mr. Savage's games have Surge. Benji's games, all but 1 had Surge. He's on a very good layer. Notice, same thing that we talk about always. If you want to hug one certain side of zone, if you can, on those particular pulls. We saw Mr. Savage do this so well. Now, not a lot of mats here. This actually is going to be his best game. His second game is not going to be super great. But he used a bunch of extra mats to extend out there, which probably with a low amount of mats, I think the only thing he could have maybe done different is just box up as soon as he got in. He got a max pull here. So he's looking, kind of sitting here hoping for something to develop. Sees a bunch of mats right there, doesn't psycho in. He gets a little bit of materials right here, about 15 bills.
After that game, we can jump.
He goes up, he decides to just eventually drop down to ultimate. He gets cracked for a significant amount. Falls into a bunch of congestion. Has barely any mats. So jumps down on low. Doesn't get that elimination and is going to end up getting taken out to zone. Not the best game, but not much you could do. No mats. He did everything he possibly could do. Just didn't get any impacts right there like I'm sure he would have wanted. Move on to the next game. I think the only minor mistake there is just he kind of built out 2 extra boxes to maybe claim more space, but not having the mats to make any type of rotation or play. Just unfortunate, but we move on to game number 3. You see he's at Lazy Lake third parting a fight. Harpoon. Incredibly valuable for getting eliminations and pickups. Look at that. Getting god tier loot. We're in another surge zone. We immediately go to... I like that he leaves this right here. None of this is his. He has mats, 600 mats. He truly doesn't need that impact. Fantastic. That's a Martaz ramp, and it's something you always... It's a nice little unexpected 50-50, but you always kind of want to do it in situations where you're not 50-50ing, right? You want to do it in situations where you have a lot of pre-fight damage. And he has a good amount right here. So he gets Harpoon 33, not the best, but you see 34, that's actually a crack shield. And then he places his own ramp, forcing this opponent under his own stair. So it's a 50-50, and the opponent it's just such a scuffed 50-50 elimination type fight. And unless you're truly expecting it, which Martaz ramps are really not super duper common, not a ton of players do that particular move, but it's effective, especially, again, only recommend doing it significantly when you're at significant health advantage, because it truly is, it's the most 50-50 a fight can get. You're actually inside a box in a confined space, only in about half of the box, if you will.
Nice.
But gets a huge refresh. Look at he's pretty much capped, so he's going to play ahead here, claiming a lot of space. He probably should pop big here soon. He's going to claim a lot of space because he has a significant amount of mats. Notice he's claiming a lot of space in this zone. Look how much space he has to work to play with so he can rotate in whichever direction he needs to. Really, really important. There's 1k mats, and you can see him conserve tarping. Look, same thing that we talked about, like I said earlier, always making sure that when you're rotating in these zones to save materials, and especially in a meta where there's no rotation, you need to be hugging sides of zone so you don't have to waste mats protecting that particular side. Yep, he's on dead side, and you see him just literally vibing wood tarping, only using 2. Look how unbothered he is. He's eventually going to get sprayed here because he's in wood. Like, there's not going to... He gets psychoed in here. But because of his previous pickups earlier, yeah, they calmed him to start building out of hards. Agree. Opponent nearly gets in right there. But that pickup earlier being so important. He's doing a good job of getting this guy's pressure. This guy's doing a good job of pressuring him.
You have 3 advance.
But that pickup earlier getting him near cap is what allowed him to burn all those mats when he was getting pretty significantly keyed.
Next placement point is top 5, I think.
Calms about placement points. He drops down and he stays ahead here again. Nice huge crack.
You got moving.
He gets up back to his old builds and his old lairs.
Nice.
And this way he can heal.
2 builds.
Calms that he has 2 builds. Crack was important, but it probably wasn't as clean as he would have wanted. Your goal here, if you're a 7-5, is to really try to do everything in your power. Pump doesn't shoot there, but fortunate to get that. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that 6 point. Nothing he can really do. The opponent shot through, stole the wall. He had no mats. That's a GG. It's not really you can do much. You'll take that 100% in the solo cash cup. He had a significant amount of kills and a top 10, so really good. Let's move on to the next game. Game number 4. Coming in, we've seen 2 very nice third parties catching opponents off guard.
You're trying to stingfish at me.
And look, we have another issue with the hopping egg things. They're sometimes great. There's sometimes this, where you're floating out in the open and you're a free beam or you're a free huge massive pump because you're just floating through the sky like a hot air balloon. And I believe this is actually Mr. Savage. I remember this. Mr. Savage is going to spray through with AR and kill him right here because the server's so laggy. He said he's so triggered. Game number 5. This is also a triggering engagement. Let's watch this. Ready?
Oh, someone just followed me on Twitch.
This reaction is great.
Thanks whoever followed me on Twitch.
Unfortunate right there that you get sprayed through, but the servers are incredibly bad and laggy. You saw all that. I was fighting this particular opponent against a makeshift. Opponent nearly kills him here with the aim assist. But one thing that I just want to mention that's important is the pickaxe bait. We haven't seen a lot of double swing. That's why good crosshair placement. The opponent actually times it good. But he actually pickaxe baited and the opponent edited through. He nearly kills him, gets it down to 20 HP with a makeshift, but really good right there. 93 pre-fright damage here, so he's going to push in instantly. Gets in quickly. Beautiful cone. Piece control. Fantastic. Ends that fight incredibly fast. I don't know where all these people are coming in from Slurpee. Opponent full boxes him. My goodness. What a read. And this is such a scuff layer. This opponent can literally do nothing. I want to talk about that crosshair placement. Because that crosshair placement is predictable crosshair placement. There's no way to... He just guessed that he was going to peanut butter that way. Look at this. He has his crosshair. He actually read that he was going to just jump right there and not... I guess it makes sense because it's the most covered. The fact that he did from 113 is actually fantastic. That's just... What an unbelievably skilled shot right there. That little flick up there. Really, really good. I'm not even going to lie. We're getting an end game. Surge. A lot of mats. You see 4, 3, 2. Trying to get him from underneath the cones. It's an incredibly effective way to get it. Pickups. Now, pickaxe baits kind of loses. We see that pickaxe bait in trades, and then he goes off of it. He didn't really need to go for that, in my opinion, with the amount of mats he has. No need to go there and go for a refresh that early when you have around 700-ish mats. Good drop to solos. In this meta are your best friend, the lower you play if there's tons and tons of congestion. Doing a good job of staying ahead of zone, right? Just not... He's looking for a cutoff opportunity. Opponent actually somehow gets a wall there. With 300 mats, he's going to leave it. Fantastic, and there he goes. He notices, okay, right to the right, I'm going to cut off and get my mats. This is good mechanics right here. He gets cracked, he goes, okay, I'm going to build. Look at that. Beautiful, just using a lot of mats to tarp out ahead. And he gets in. 300 mats. That pickup again being important, recognizing opponent is very, very low. Though the only issue is only being in wood builds. That's a good angle for him for sure. But unfortunately doesn't connect. He's got 300-ish mats. So he starts conserve tarping. Good recognition, he's getting sprayed in front. Now because he's in wood, it's going to be hard to hold. That's really fortunate. He's actually going to get a significant amount of pickup. He's going to get basically 2 refreshes for the price of 1. That he goes in there and finishes that fight. He's going to heal up, use flopper. Something that you can definitely maximize floppers and heals fishes. And with him being on a spicy pepper. Good layer switch again, not going right in front of that guy. And he gets ahead immediately. And we're now 400-ish mats. Very, very good. 5 eliminations, top 10 already. Decides to drop down and get ahead because that's where zone is going. Maybe looks forward to see if he could get that opponent, not even caring about taking storm. His goal is because he has enough mats to get a decent way ahead. He's going to look for elimination. Fantastic. Him getting ahead kills technique right there. And now really want to maximize the top places, 200-ish mats. He gets cracked from above. No, may have not been the best play to go for height with the amount of mats, but he ends up actually winning. The height is shambles. He's going to use his last mats to drop down. This opponent actually looks like he was trying to build no mats, and he gets 2 weak pump shots on opponents. That was really, really good clutch. Using every little bit of materials that he could. Landing retail roll in the next game. That was a really, really good example of staying ahead in that night zone. It really paid off. He made a height take. It almost cost him the game, but he actually ended up winning it just with, well, I have 200 mats. We're in night zone. I'm assuming height has nothing. Height gave it up pretty quickly, and it's what allowed him to win the game. So good stuff from Scolleh. Let's go into game number 7. Opponent with no mats. Trying to pre-fire here. Smart decision to pick up the mats.
Nice.
He gets absolutely fried right there. Now you're going to see him immediately use hard mats, create a lot of space. Going up. Doesn't get that opportunity. Trying to pre-fire angles. Now the goal here is to get the mini big off for a can of just big. He does get that off. Opponent is... Servers are very laggy, it looks like. going to go for a chop down right here. Beautiful. He wins that trade. Good breakdown. He has this on him. He has the ramp. Opponent actually gets out very quickly. I'm unsure if the opponent actually has mats. Doesn't seem like the opponent does. He cracks him. Oh, that was Phoenix. Oh, GG's. Ends up winning that fight. Again, another surge. Same thing, doing a good job of staying ahead. Good mats. 2-3-1. Opponent just flies by him. You can hear him react to that. Like, not the best for him. Good conserve tarping ahead, getting ahead. Now he's probably going to be thinking get elimination. I like that he takes a little bit of stone to make sure he just pre-builds ahead. There you go. He's slowly, methodically, carefully building. And wins the aim duel. Like I said, harpoons are absolutely key. He didn't use it to the best of his ability there, but harpoons are incredibly key to getting impacts that you need. And look, he goes from 180 metal to having full 500 metal. Much better. He can heal. He can use a little bit of his tarp to take his heals. 3 eliminations. Fortunate to find someone just underneath his 4. And that opponent had a ton of wood, so he's actually chilling on mats. Love that he gets to a nice clean layer here, immediately making a move towards a more dead side where you can freely just tarp. That elevation change really good, and then he doesn't like level of elevation that he's on wood. So someone in his tarp. That's such a good ramp flip to kind of protect him. He just has to go 1 layer out, and this is really good. He recognizes that he has a floor, so then he breaks the cone so he can take his heals. Only 18 builds. Fortunately dropped into an area probably didn't want to go into with how congested it was. But now look, he's immediately getting to a dead side, and I believe he's actually going to win this game. Ends up taking 1 minute. He gets into, this is good map knowledge. He's going to get a ton of placements by being exactly where he is. He covers his back a ton. I believe he finds like a refresh in mats as well. I could be wrong. Immediately gets as far ahead as he can. Refarms, there's all this. And that's what I said earlier, like how sometimes in super stat game, low ground can be your absolute best friend in solos. If you stay ahead, you can make 12 builds and no HP work by just recycling all of this congested builds and all these old tarps in these end zones. Just making sure. He goes, oh, I'm a little bit stuck down here, aren't I? You're going to see a super clutch elimination right here. 2. Immediately gets ahead. He's going to shoot him through this thing with a nice little jump. He takes 1 HP and gets in. The opponent misses a shot, and he gets the nice little refresh. He gets back in. And look, I said this entire tarp. Fantastic. The opponent breaks in. Immediately makes sure he covers his head first. He's getting his HP from picks. 1v1, and then he goes, fuck it, I'm going to make a chance for high ground. He has 300 mats. It's probably a smart play. Kind of drops down. Doesn't get it. Crosshair on his opponent. Good 50-42 crack. I can't do math. Now he's going to get up and go to this area. Keep up on that high ground. The opponent has to break through. Opponent goes up. Sprays through, cracks for 100. Now he probably is going to play a little bit aggressive towards the end just because he is only going to be able to stay in storm for 6 seconds. That's why he's spraying through in the zone. Good reload management, 9 builds. Opponent's breaking through a ton of congestion. We're going to see if Scolleh decides to go down on the low ground in 50-50 or what's going to happen. He's going to drop now and go 4C if he can get it. Unfortunately, the opponent was actually weaker than him, and that was due to the fact of his going for height and basically taking from with those 300 mats. Really smart play from Scolleh right there. That's a GG's, and I believe that's really good. 3 victory royales that we saw, and very, very good stuff from Scolleh overall. We got to saw a lot of importance of getting those late game impacts. That was the biggest thing for me. Scolleh had great awareness around him, cutting people off. His rotate, he was always ahead. You didn't see him look back for picks a ton. He wanted to mainly get his refreshes on people in the same layer that he was already ahead of. That's how he wanted to get refreshes. And when you're looking back for picks, that's just basically for a free point, unless you have Harpoon where you can really get those mats. But Scolleh was constantly ahead of zone, always recycling old tarps. He played low ground well. He played high ground incredibly well. He made good decisions, win conditions. He made multiple hide attempts. Nothing after 5th. He was content to play that mid layer, get impact so he could take height late. Did a really good job, clinical rotations and a clinical job of staying ahead. So like I said, the 2 biggest things to take away was just the way he was just so adept at getting impacts and his just rotational knowledge. He was constantly ahead of zone. He was constantly going to dead side, saving a ton of mats. It was very, very clinical, and that's why he placed 5th. But that is going to do it for today's VOD review, guys. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.